What's up guys, Lord Hezion here, back with another video. I've finally gotten my hands on the Samsung Galaxy A51 and the Samsung Galaxy A71. These are a refreshed last year's A50 and A70 mid-range phones. This will also be one of the first video reviews you'll see on both phones from Kenya, so a thumbs up for that will be appreciated. And as culture has it with the A-series phones, Samsung gives us similar hardware specs and major differences fall in the camera department. So in this video, we're going to compare the Galaxy A51 and A71 in the camera department in a bid to set them apart. But before we do, please smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications to help Lord Hezion get to those 2,000 subscribers, and let's get started. To start this off, let's get you up to speed on what both phones offer and at what price. On the Samsung Galaxy A50, you get a 6.5-inch Super AMOLED display, an Exynos 9611 chipset, options between 64GB of storage and 4GB of RAM, or 128GB of storage and 4, 6 or 8GB of RAM, and a 4000 mAh battery powering the phone. Flipping to the A71, you get a slightly taller 6.7-inch Super AMOLED screen, a Snapdragon 730 chipset, you get 128GB of storage as standard, and options between 6 or 8GB of RAM. You also get a 4500 mAh battery powering up the phone. Both devices run on Android 10 and One UI 2.1. Moving on to the camera specifications. On the A51, you get a 48MP f2.0 wide-angle lens, a 12MP f2.2 ultra-wide lens, a 5MP f2.4 macro camera, and a 5MP f2.2 depth sensor. The A51 sports a 32MP f2.2 wide-angle selfie camera. On the A71, you get a 64MP f1.8 wide-angle lens, a 12MP f2.2 ultra-wide lens, a 5MP f2.4 macro lens, a 5MP f2.2 depth sensor. The A71 similarly sports a 32MP f2.2 wide-angle selfie camera. On paper, both phones have borderline similar specs, with differences coming in at the processor, the GPU, battery size, screen size, and one camera lens. That leaves the best way to set them apart to be in the camera department. Also, please note that I'll refer and compare some of the pictures shot on both phones to the Galaxy S20 Ultra as some sort of control for the whole test, and also for the sake of science to just give you some perspective on the quality of footage and pictures from the A51 and the A71 to the quality of the top tier phone in the Samsung lineup, that is the S20 Ultra. So let's talk about selfie cameras. The selfies shot on both phones are pleasing to the eye. They feel rich, detailed, and clarity is nothing short of amazing. Straight out of the box, you'll see the A51 kind of struggling with color temperature, with results being a hit or miss from time to time, but it's nothing too major. Switching to the wide angle, it's evident that the Galaxy A71 manages to fit much more into one shot compared to the Galaxy A51. The A71 particularly manages to keep the colors composed with nothing washed out of the shot. In terms of portrait shots on both phones, the Genius software used to blur the background does a really good job in mapping out the edges of the subject, while keeping the clarity and colors of the shot top notch. Here is a comparison of all the selfies shot across the A51 and A71 compared to those shot on the S20 Ultra for perspective. Let me know what you think in the poll. On front-facing video. Now, these samples were both shot on the wide-angle lens, and first impressions are good. So with me, I've got both phones. I've got the A71 on my left, which is your right, and I've got the A51 on my right, which is your left. So far, impressive even. The 32MP 1080p video really brings out the clarity of the object in the video. Notice that in still video, color temperature matches that of the A71 in every way. But when I start moving, there's that slight shift in color temperature up until I become still again for the temperature to stabilize. Also note that the A51 offers more room in video than the A71, despite the A71 offering more room in the wide-angle pictures. Very interesting. With more and more vlogging that I did on both phones, I ended up liking the front-facing video on the A51. Apart from the shift in color temperature, everything else is at par with or even better than the A71. It's just personal preference. Sound quality on both video samples from both phones is good, and I'm impressed with how they managed to cancel or minimize the background noise. What do you think about the individual audio? Comment below. The front-facing cameras on these phones are supposedly the same. They even got the same 32 megapixel wide-angle lens with the same aperture, but I'm not utterly sold on image quality. First, both camera cutouts are of different sizes, and the A71 appears to have a larger cutout or a thicker bezel, or more space for the lens, or a larger lens entirely. And the results aren't what you'd expect. You expect both to give you the same quality in images and video, but they don't. I'll get to why in just a sec, so watch till the end. Moving on to the rear main cameras on both phones. The wide 48 megapixel shooter on the A51 and the 64 megapixel shooter on the A71 brings out some pretty impressive social media worthy shots. Straight off the bat, they're consistent in color accuracy, detail and sharpness with nothing blown out of the shots. Even with HDR off, you can see that the colors of the A71 wide-angle lens are punchier as seen from the blue in the sky, the green in the hedge, and the individual poles in the fence. Benefit of having more megapixels taking one shot. Moving on to the ultra-wide shots. Both phones sport a 12 megapixel wide-angle shooter, and I must say, both phones allow you to fit a ton more into your shots when you switch from the wide-angle lens to the ultra-wide lens. Moving on, I have no complaints in the portrait mode section on both phones. The blur is mapped out very clearly and nothing intrudes into the object in focus, and results stay consistent. Have a look at the pictures shot across the A51 and the A71 and compare them to those shot on the Ultra, again for the sake of science. The other lens left here is the macro lens, which allows you to get super close to say 3 centimeters to an object to capture a macro photo. I don't really see the use for this lens. Yes, it will bring out some cool photos, but if it were up to me, I'd swap it out with a telephoto lens to really get things heated up in the mid-range section. Just for fun, I did take some 5x photos on both phones just to try and show you why the telephoto lens will be better than the macro, and you can see for yourself. Of course, quality of the shot degraded as I zoomed into 5x, but if it was a telephoto on these two phones, we'd get some crisp shots like this that was shot on the S20 Ultra telephoto lens. Samsung, if you're watching this, that's a free tip on the house. In terms of video, both phones can shoot up to 4K and use electronic image stabilization to give you that smooth video output. Here's a sample of video, and notice the same color temperature shift we've experienced earlier on the A51. Okay, this is the rear facing video footage. This on the right is the A71 and on the left is the A51. So tell me how the footage is. If I turn, how the colors hold up and that angle. One thing I also noticed is the AI control of each shot. This is seen, for example, where the A71 identifies the main object in the shot as say plants and optimizes the colors to bring out the pop in the plants, compared to the A51 that just sees it fit to optimize the shot because it was taken outdoors. Same thing with this photo here, where the AI in the A71 optimizes the shot to take pictures of the shoes, while the A51 optimizes the shot for human objects in the viewfinder. Does this AI shot optimization have an effect on the outcome of the photo? Well, aside from the color temperature variation on the A51, you decide. Alright, so let's wrap this up. You're paying roughly $330 for the A51 and just under $450 for the A71. Are you getting your money's worth? Well, yes, you are. For the price, these two offerings from Samsung are going to be hard to beat in that mid-range section. From performance to design to storage options to the camera section, both phones are an ideal upgrade from last year's A50 and A70. I actually reviewed the A50 last year. If you want to see that video, I'll leave it linked below. And after using the A51 for a while, it is a worthy upgrade. The cameras, as we've seen in this video, are good and get a thumbs up from me. They're perfect for people that want a good smartphone camera and don't want to spend flagship money on a smartphone. Yes, the camera needs and will get future updates that fine-tune it and make it better, and knowing Samsung very well, those updates are set to come in pretty soon. In my opinion, the Exynos chip on the A51 and Snapdragon chip on the A71 do have a major part to play in the photo aspects we've seen in this video. There's areas where the Snapdragon in the A71 completely blows the A51 pictures out of the water. There's areas where the Exynos chip seems to surpass expectations and even defeat the A71, like in front-facing video. And there's areas where both go home in a tie. I feel like Samsung has some work to do to narrow the gap between those chip differences in a bid to make these cameras better. All in all, can we just give props to how better the cameras in the mid-range sections are actually getting? It's mind-blowing. So, what do you think about these two phones, especially in the camera section? Are you convinced to go out and spend your money on one? Please drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Share this video with your friends. Hit that subscribe button and help the channel get to 2,000 subscribers. Thanks a lot for watching. Let me see you in the next one.